In this video, I'm going to explain the 7 levels of wealth and how much money you would need per day per household. So essentially, if we're looking at it like life is a game and money is a scoreboard. And once again, this is ClinchCapital. I'm a small YouTuber. 90% of people are never going to make it past level 3. And I'm going to explain the secret to getting to level 4 and beyond. First of all, level 1. Level 1 is going to be extreme poverty and poverty. For extreme poverty, you lack basic needs, food, water, shelter, healthcare. You don't have any of those things. This is not where you want to be. Level 1 is like red light. You don't want to be here. This is like trying to play Halo 2 on Legendary for the first time ever. You've never played any first-person shooter before, and your controller's unplugged, and your electricity randomly goes out. This is like not where you want to be. So extreme poverty, lack of basic needs, lack of food, lack of shelter, lack of water, and healthcare. You're at risk for more health problems because you don't have the basic needs met. And poverty would be where some of those basic needs are met, but you have to kind of choose now. It's like I can choose if I'm going to have dinner tonight or if I'm going to pay the electric bill. And this dollar amount is going to depend on where you live. But in this video, I'm going to run averages based on America. And for America, you need about $4,370 per person for a single person to be considered poverty. If you're in poverty, your opportunity, your choices, and your freedom are limited by money. And we're looking at $20 to $85 per day per household to be in this level 1 range of extreme poverty or poverty. But let's jump on to the next level. Level 2 would be the lower middle class. This is where you have some of your basic needs met. Most of your basic needs are met, but you're living paycheck to paycheck essentially. If something were to happen, if you were to have a big emergency, you might be kind of out on one of those things. Essentially, you can't splurge at this point. You're on a strict budget. If things go well, you might be able to afford a quality meal pretty sparingly. Lower middle class, you're essentially running on $96 to $164 per day per household on average in America. So that would be level 2. Level 2 would be like trying to play Legendary Halo with no skills and the first time playing, but you got electricity and your controller is plugged in, but maybe one of the buttons stick. Now let's go on to level 3. Level 3 is middle class. Essentially, this is just mid. This is level 3, and this is where I think the most people kind of get stuck. This is where people kind of hit that sticking point, and it's like they're rolling a big boulder up a hill. Middle class, essentially, you have occasional dining. You might have a vacation every once in a while, maybe just a road trip. And your personal purchases, like a new computer or a new phone, are limited to every couple years. You're not buying like designer products every couple weeks or months. You have a stable job, though. You have a stable job and a stable income. This could be an office worker. Maybe you're a salesman at like a dealership, a nurse, or a teacher. Middle class in America, on average, we're looking at $219 per day per household. So for the whole household, $219 per day. That's going to land you smack dab in the middle. Essentially, you're mid. At this point, you're doing okay. This is where a lot of people stick, though, and they kind of get stuck here. The biggest thing on getting out of this trap would be, I think, just dollar cost averaging into hard assets such as the S&P 500, an ETF like VOO. So that's how I think you would just essentially get out of that. You'd have to budget, and I would set a rule like the 75, 10, 15 rule. For every dollar you make, you save 75 cents. That's your spending money, is that 75 cents. That's for spending on things like rent, electricity, your car payment, all that. The rest of the money, the 15 cents left over, that gets invested into the S&P 500, ETF like VOO or some sort of other ETF. And the other 10 cents I would save in a high yield savings account, and I'd be saving that for a down payment on a house or a down payment on a car and try to pay cash, or at least get a really low interest rate. But moving on to the next level, level 4. At this point, you're essentially upper middle class. This pretty much means you have a pool in your backyard. At this point, you're just jamming through life. This is like playing Halo, and you have some experience, and you're just playing on easy mode. You have good finances. You're invested. You have money that's invested, and you're living a pretty comfortable life. You have a stable job, and it's well paying. Essentially, this could be like a successful entrepreneur, a senior manager. You live in a nice neighborhood. Your kids can go to good schools, and you can have nice vacations. Upper middle class, we're looking at about $320 to $410 per day per household. At this point, you're living pretty luxurious. You got a premium gym membership. You can regularly dine out at nice restaurants. Maybe you're going to PF Chang's every couple weeks. But you're not on a yacht yet. You're not flying private jets. Maybe you can fly a plane, though, and you can pay for leg room. Essentially, that's upper middle class. Now, going on to the next level, let's look at level 5. Level 5 would be affluent. This is where you own art, essentially. You get like high-end art in your house. You probably got like a grand piano in your house or something nice like that. So affluent, your needs are met, your luxuries are met. You probably own like some luxury jewelry. Maybe you have a Rolex or two, maybe a couple of them. You probably have a nicer vehicle. Maybe not like a Lamborghini Urus, but you probably got like a Denali, the highest trim available for like whatever vehicle you have. Leather seats, ventilated seats, seat warmers, all that good stuff. At this point, you can afford high-end technology. You dine out almost every weekend, and you have investments that are making you essentially like an average annual income. At this point, we're looking at around an average of $600 per day per household. So that's level 5. That's affluent. Now we're going to take a big jump here from affluent to millionaire status. This is where things really start exploding. Millionaire to multimillionaire, approximately 18% of households are at that millionaire status here in America. You're at the end game of the financial freedom game. You got money in the bank. The scoreboard is looking pretty good. You're pretty much just running through the game, having fun at this point. You've done the main objective. You've completed story mode. You're just going through and enjoying the finer things in life. You got vacation homes, or at least one vacation home. Luxury vacations are a regular thing. You can experience gourmet dining. Michelin restaurants is something you're kind of into at this point. You have money set aside for university for the kids. You could pay for that. Early retirement is now looking like an option. It's on the table. And at level 6, you could easily start a business and not like bankrupt yourself. So we've got luxury high-end vehicles, multiple properties worldwide, and decisions now are coming from like passion and interest rather than necessity. At this point, you probably could get the Lamborghini Urus if you wanted it, or whatever your maybe you want that Rolls Royce. At this level, this is when this is more of a feasible thing. Your assets like stocks, real estate, and art are gaining you money while you sleep. And the average dollar per day, we're looking at $1,000 to $5,000 coming in per day per household at level 6 millionaire status. Now, the last level of wealth is the billionaire level. This is essentially end game. You've got all the camos for all the guns. All the side quests are completed. All the achievements are completed. You're pretty much just balling out. You got more money than you could count or ever need. Instead of owning like luxury cars, you own yachts. You own stadiums, racetracks, charities, etc., private islands, fleets of yachts. You own businesses. Buying a private jet could be like a regular expense for someone at this point. Flying private is what you do. You're going on vacations whenever you want. You want to go to the Bahamas for a weekend, you take the private jet. The billionaire status is really kind of crazy when you think about it. And what's crazy is the dollar per day amount. Pretty much, you have so many assets building you wealth that you're pretty much just at this point the compounding is done. It's like that old cliche saying of like a snowball rolling down a hill collecting. At this point, you don't have a snowball anymore. You have like a giant sphere, like the Las Vegas sphere size snowball, just growing for you and compounding. This is essentially you're averaging $100 million per day, or what the average household would make in 5,000 years. So level 7 billionaire status. At this point, you could cut your net worth in half and feed the entire continent of Africa. You're pretty much well set off. There's nothing you could spend money frivolously and not really have to think about it. Nothing bad's going to happen. It'd be really hard to go down from that level. Those are the 7 levels of wealth. If you've enjoyed this video, maybe drop a subscribe. Once again, this is ClinchCapital here. I'm a small YouTuber. Thank you if you made it this far.